Have you ever woke up and thought, just let me get through today? Looked at that person in the mirror and said, I don't even know who that is anymore. You have been so busy surviving that you forgot who you are. You forgot how to dream. You forgot how to do anything more than survive. If that is you, I'm just Janae, and this is Dreams Don't Expire. All that you want is still out there waiting for you. Dare to dream again with me.
All right, guys, let's talk about failure today. All right, I just want to know how many people, when they heard that word, just cringed, felt some tightness going on, like it was just this negative thing. Why? Let's change that, because, we can look at it differently and use it as a great tool. Thomas Jefferson stated that he found 10,000 ways that wouldn't work before inventing the light bulb. 10,000. I don't know about you, but I think I would have given up before that, right? I think that 10,000 times would have got in my head and stopped me because I've had such a negative belief on failure. Christopher Columbus, failure founded America, right? Oh my gosh. I mean, huge fail, because that's not where he was going for, but wow, are we grateful he did. Michael Jordan, arguably one of the best basketball players ever, right? He said, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again. That's why I succeed. He also had this quote that I absolutely love. I can accept failure. Everyone fails at something, but I can't accept not trying again. Okay, that's the difference, right? Thomas Edison didn't accept not trying again. We didn't start this life looking at failure. We didn't start this life judging every little thing we did, or we'd never have walked, right? Because we fell and fell and fell and fell. And we got up and we tried again and got up and tried again. So at some point throughout life, we have become, and it's multiple reasons, right? But we have become where we judge ourselves on everything we do. And if we do not get it right, we don't give ourselves grace and we beat ourselves down. When I was working, anytime I would make a mistake, a fail, I would beat myself up for days or weeks and just play it over and over and over again in my mind. And I remember calling one of my bosses and I'm like, okay, I always started it out this way. You should fire me. And I mean it. And they'd say, okay, what happened? And I'd say, here's what I did. And they'd say, yeah, I know, we found it yesterday. And I'm like, why didn't you call me? And they'd say, because you beat yourself up way more than anything we could say, and we didn't want you to. These same bosses were really great because they'd always say, what'd you learn? And that question, what did you learn, helped me change how I see failure. Help me learn to give myself grace, but also not to look at it as a negative. It is definitely one of those things that it can be a negative or a positive. You've got to choose. It shouldn't be a negative. It really shouldn't. So let's talk about how to reframe what we believe failure to be. So first off, you got to embrace a growth mindset. I do not care who you are. If you do not embrace a growth mindset, you're going to look at failure just as failure. But if you embrace a growth mindset, you can view it and challenge it. You can say, what are my opportunities to learn? I remember one time I was doing payroll and oh my gosh, I double checked, made sure my hours were right, everything. And for the first time in a lot of years, I messed up on payroll. And so I called the owner and like, okay, you should fire me. I'm serious this time. And he said, what happened? And I said, I messed up commission. I messed up a paycheck and I messed up commission. And he just laughed and he goes, I've been waiting for this. And he used to do payroll before me, right? And so as we talked about it, we realized we had checks and balances for every part of payroll but commission. So we were able to find a way to put a checks and balance for the commission in. And you know what? That one little mistake gave us a better system, a better process than not having made that mistake. We might not have ever thought to put that in. And so it was such a positive, and I remember that moment of going, oh, okay, look how much better payroll's going to be now that I have this extra checks and balance. So again, it was a huge moment for me to be able to look and say, you know what, even though I made this mistake, look at what we accomplished from it. And so that's one of the first things you got to do is, what opportunities to learn do I have here? Then 2, analyze the experience. What could I have done differently, right? Because a lot of times there's something that you're like, if I had just done this, it would have made such a difference. What did I learn? That is so important because there's always something to learn from it. And how can I apply that lesson in the future? We were able to do that with payroll. And I'm telling you, most of the time you can do that. And if you can sit and look at it and analyze it, it quits being this big thing hanging over you and it becomes this problem you're solving, and it doesn't hang on for weeks and weeks at a time like it used to for me, right? Then you need to separate that failure from your identity. That little thing that just happened isn't who you are. It's a thing that happened. It does not change who you are. It does not change how people see you. If it's changing how you see you, stop. Because that's a second of time. That's it. Your failure does not define you as a person. It really doesn't. And if it does, it's because you're choosing for it to, for you. It doesn't for anybody else. Okay, then we need to start celebrating the small wins. This was something I was horrible about. I was not going to celebrate till I hit this big thing up here that I was looking for. And oh my gosh, if you are only looking at the fails, because I'm telling you, when you are in that mindset and you are looking for every single failure, you can find a lot. But then you're not turning around and giving a positive. So all I'm looking at is my fails, and I'm not seeing that I'm doing any growth. I'm not seeing that I have done X, Y, and Z. All I can see are these fails. And when that happens, we are going to keep beating ourselves down and beating ourselves down. So we need to celebrate the small wins because they mean as much as those fails do, right? They mean actually more. They're progress, guys. Those are stepping stones towards your big goal. I was so horrible about it. I'd set a goal for my team, and it would be a big, audacious goal. And we didn't really celebrate the steps on the way up to it. That was my fault. That was on me. I should have been celebrating the milestones. And once we got there and everything, and I was able to start doing it with other teams, I went, oh my gosh, we need to celebrate each milestone and not just the big goal. So I've gotten better at that. And it's easier to get better at doing that with a team than with yourself, right? You're going to see other people's accomplishments way before you see your own. So here's where grace comes in. You know me, I love grace. Give yourself some grace. The other thing, seek feedback and support. I'm telling you right now, if I am going to go up and talk to you about my fail, about my mistake, you're going to go, oh my gosh, I've done that 1,000 times. Or, oh my gosh, you should hear what I did, right? And it's going to go, oh, everybody does it. It doesn't make me special in the wrong way, right? It doesn't affect anything that I did this, because so did all these other people. They've had these same kinds of mistakes. But also, getting feedback. I love feedback. It took me a long time. I used to look at it as, oh, this is what you're doing wrong. And now I look at feedback as my opportunity to grow. Feedback, and when I would take it to my teams, because we would have team meetings, leader meetings, and we'd give everybody in the room feedback. And, the first couple times it was bad. Everybody was just like, oh, you said that about me. And I said, guys, okay, maybe reframe this. It'd really help me if you would do this way. Now, you still give them the same information, right? And now they were open to hear it. And once you can start hearing feedback in a way that's like, hey, here's what I need from you, no matter how they say it, I can hear this is what they need from me. And if I'm going to grow to meet their needs, I'm going to have to do this, right? And so I love feedback. My journey stays here if I don't get feedback. If I don't understand what is needed for me to go to the next part, I'm never going to get to that next level. So feedback and support is absolutely huge. You gotta get open to feedback, guys. It is a game changer. It used to be if somebody would say, oh, do you know what? You should have maybe done it this way. It was on a loop inside my head, being replayed and replayed and replayed. And I then had questioned how I even had the job. And, it had taken me down to where I was nothing. And once I started getting a little self-confidence, but also I started to learn feedback as a way to grow and get better at who I am, I was like, okay, guys, feedback. I absolutely love it. I actually had a CEO say, do you not understand we are having a critical conversation? And I said, absolutely. But I can't give you what you need if you don't tell me what it is you need. And I said, so I need you to be blunt. I need you to be, here's exactly what I need from you so that I can give it to you. If you beat around the bush, I'm going to fail, and it's going to be your fault because you never told me what you needed. That's crazy, huh? If you do not explicitly tell somebody what you need from them, they are going to not give it to you. And then you are going to be pissed, but it wasn't their fault. It was yours because you did not tell them explicitly what you need from them. So get good at feedback. Get good at giving it. Get good at taking it. It is such an important part of communication. And when you can give that feedback in such a way that helps them understand how you can get better at your job by how they do theirs, because we are reliant upon each other, right? Now it's not going to feel like such a big deal, and it's not going to feel like a failure. It's not going to feel like a mistake. It's going to feel like, hey, I understand things this way and you're bringing it to me this way, and so can we work in the middle and do it in a way that we both understand? Huge. And of course, we're back to the other thing on failure. Give yourself grace. I say this a lot. Ed Milet is the one who taught me this. But you got to give yourself grace. Anytime somebody tells me a mistake, I'm like, okay, all right. And then they're just beating themselves up. And I said, okay, if I made that mistake, what would you be telling me right now? And they go, oh, well, I would say this. And I go, so why don't you deserve that same grace that I deserve? Why do you treat yourself worse than you treat me? Give yourself the grace. You've earned it. You have. We all are going to make mistakes. We all are going to be doing something that we might consider failure in the moment. But it's not. We just found a way not to do it, right? I'm telling you, had Thomas Edison gave up at 9,999, we would not have the light bulb. And the reason I say 9,999 is most of us give up right before we succeed. How crazy is that? Right before we succeed, we give up. We are right there at the top of the hill and we just haven't quite hit over. And we quit because we don't know how close we are. So guys, next time you fail, Embrace it with a growth mindset, right? Analyze the experience. What could I do different? What did I learn? And how can I apply those lessons? Separate your failure from your identity or that outcome, right? That outcome from your identity, they're not the same. One does not rely on the other. Separate them. Celebrate small wins. Seek feedback and support. Give yourself grace. So go out there and find 10,000 ways to get your dream, right? 10,000 ways that didn't work so that that dream happens. Don't give up. You are worth it.
Hey, thank you for having watched that episode of Dreams Don't Expire. I'm just Janae, reminding you, this is your time to rise. Your time to believe in who you are, to become who you are meant to be. So get up, go after those dreams, because guess what? You deserve them.